Hello class, this video is an alternative to Lab 2. It has come to my attention that for some of you VirtualBox 7.1 is giving you a lot of trouble with the installation of Ubuntu. So I'm making this video as an alternative. You can always install an earlier version of VirtualBox like 7.0 and then work with that. But however, I don't have a video on how to do it, so I might record even another alternative to this one. In this video in particular, I want to try to install and do the setup in a completely different hypervisor. We will be using VMware Player in this instance. So to download VMware Player, you will need to go to this URL here at the top. I'm gonna leave the URL in the instructions that I will write and in the YouTube video description as well. Click on VMware Player 17.6.0. Oh, this is a tar archive, so we're gonna have to save here. I believe 7-zip can uncompress tar archives in Windows, so you might need 7-zip in your computer installed. So 7-zip this program, right? If you don't have it already, so make sure you install 7-zip. Now let me open my downloads and see if it's done. And it's done. So now let's decompress this. Hopefully 7-zip can do it. Yeah, it can. So great. Okay, now that I have the installer extracted, all we have to do is run the installer. It's very similar to VirtualBox, so should be no problem. Click on next here, accept the license and agreement, add it to the system path. I don't want to join that, and I don't want to check for updates either. So I'm gonna click on next, yes, add a shortcut and click on install. We're almost done. Okay, let's click on finish here. And now let's launch VMware Player. Click on open. Use VMware Player for free and click on finish. This is how VMware Player looks like. So now let's create a new virtual machine. So click on create new virtual machine. The installer disk, this is the ISO file, just like we did with Ubuntu. So if you go to the instructions here, right, after we install the hypervisor, which is step number 2, we went ahead and created a virtual machine. So we're just gonna mirror the same settings that we did before in VirtualBox. So we're gonna mount our ISO file, click on browse, downloads. Well, my download isn't done yet. Let me see how much pending. 3 minutes. I'm just gonna pause the recording and then come back to you once the download is done. Wow, that is not right. That's crazy. Let me see if we can fix this. So I'm gonna cancel that. Let's restart this download real quick. Okay, and yes, I want to place it in the downloads folder. Okay, so I'm gonna let that finish and then I'll come back to you guys. Okay, now the download is complete, so I am going to mount my ISO image. Notice that it detected Ubuntu 24.01 automatically, which is good. Now I'm gonna click on next. Here, let me see if I can not do that. Let's go with install the operating system later, because I don't want to do the automated installation instead. We want to do it manually. So we're going to go with, again, we're going to go with install the operating system later. I will show you how to mount the ISO file manually. We're going to click on Linux, and we're selecting Ubuntu from the list. Ubuntu, which should be the default. Click on next. We're going to call this Ubuntu Desktop, because later on in the semester, we're going to make a server virtual machine. You can leave the default place as is. We don't need to move it. And now this hard disk size, as we have in the instructions, we want 50 gigabytes for the desktop. We're going to store it as a single file just to keep things easy. And now we're going to click on Customize Hardware. Then here, when we get the customization part, notice that it already automatically allocates 4 gigabytes of memory, which is exactly what we need. In the processors, it allocates 2 cores, which is exactly what we need. Now here in the CD section, we're going to click on ISO image. Click on Browse, and then select the ISO image of Ubuntu 24.04. The network adapter will leave as is. USB controller can stay as is. The sound card, I wanted to disable that. I apologize. I haven't used VMware Player in a long time. That's why you see me double guessing. Yeah, let's leave it as is. The display, we're gonna leave it as is. The graphics memory here, let's just move it to 1 gigabyte instead. Yeah, let's just leave it as 1 gigabyte. We don't need more than that. And let's click on close. You might need to tweak the graphics memory depending on your system's resources, right? You might need to decrease that even more. So that's gonna vary depending on your hardware. For my computer, since I have a GPU attached to my machine and a decent hardware, decent CPU, 1 gigabyte is fine, but yours might need less resources than that. Now let's click on finish here. And now we can turn on our virtual machine. And this is gonna be the same installation process as we were doing with the VirtualBox. For those of you who already attempted to install it but didn't get a successful result. Okay. Now let's start our installation. So here we're gonna go next, next, next. Yes, use the connection. Yes, install Ubuntu, interactive installation, default selection, install third-party hardware. Erase disk and install Ubuntu. If you see any glitches like this, it's because we have accelerated graphics enabled, right? If you don't want these glitches, or you know this is gonna make it impossible for you to work, this is what you do. Turn off the virtual machine. Wait until it turns off completely. Okay, and now let's go back to VMware Player. Let's edit the virtual machine settings. Let's go to display and let's disable 3D accelerated graphics and then click on OK. Power on the virtual machine, and those glitches should be gone. We're gonna start the process all over again. Okay, I didn't realize that I paused the recording and I did other stuff. Okay, so let's start over. Open VMware Player. Open the virtual machine. Open the virtual machine settings. And then here in the settings, go back to display. Enable 3D accelerated graphics. Leave it at 1 gigabyte. That's fine. Click on OK. When the machine turns on again, we're gonna select Save Graphics. So click inside and select Save Graphics. The downside to this approach is that the resolution of the virtual machine will be, well, small, the screen resolution, but at least the glitches won't appear. That's a good thing. Okay, let's continue with the installation now. Again, yes, English, no. Keyboard language is English. Use wired connection. Install Ubuntu. Interactive installation. default selection, yes graphics, yes other fonts and stuff, yes erase disk, and now let's put our information here. So my name, I'm just gonna choose my username, the computer name, which is the name of our class, CIS 106, and then the password, which I'm just gonna keep something very, very simple, as you can see. Now click on next. Yes, the location is correct. Yes, install here. Now give it 15 minutes, 25 minutes more or less, and the installation should complete. I will pause the recording now and I'll come back once the installation is done. When you get this prompt over here, do not dismiss it, just leave it as is. We're gonna use that prompt later. The installation is now complete, and regrettably it took longer than I expected, about 30-35 minutes, which doesn't send a lot of confidence down my spine, but let's see. Let's restart. Click on restart now. Press enter here. And now let's sign in. I'm gonna go full screen on this. Well, only the window. And there we go. Now let's finish this. Next, skip for now. Yes, I want to share some data. So let's go. You don't have to click yes on that. Now let's open terminal because we're gonna need it. And now let's open a file, Firefox, a web browser. I need some coffee, man, because we're also gonna need it. So let's go to cis106.com so that we can follow steps correctly. And now we can simply do our guide just like it was laid out over here. So we're gonna go straight to optimizing Ubuntu for the class, because we already did 1 to 4. And the first thing that we're gonna do is perform an update. You can copy and paste this command from here. Type your password. This update should be brief because we're using the latest update of Ubuntu 24.04. So there shouldn't be that many packages to update here. Okay, now let's install some essential packages. We're gonna need to install curl so that we can download these scripts to our machine. So let's do sudo apt, let me make this bigger for you, install curl, C-U-R-L. Press enter, and curl has been installed. Now we can simply copy these commands here. You can copy the whole thing by clicking on the icon here, or you can copy them one by one. I suggest you copy them one by one. Press enter, next one. And now let's run the script that will install all our essential software. This script should take about 5 to 7 minutes to run, more or less. If there are any errors, there is going to be a log file that will be generated on your desktop. Well, not your desktop, your home directory. And it will show you whatever errors happen there. So I'm going to pause the recording and get back to you once this script has finished executing. If you get this error, you can simply click on don't send. You can just ignore it. The script has finished executing. Let's install VS Code now. So let's remove that script from the computer because we don't need it anymore. And now let's do the same thing. Let's download the script that will install VS Code, change its permissions so that it can be run as a program. And now let's execute the script as a program. And finally, we're gonna remove this the file once the script finished executing. This one should be quick as well because it's only one package that's getting installed. Let me make this also a little bigger. There you go, perfect. You don't need to install LibreWolf if you don't want. This is an alternative to Firefox that I find to perform better than Firefox, so I like to install it. So let's do that right now. Let's remove the VS Code script because we don't need it. And let's do the same thing with, just gonna copy the whole thing this time, with LibreWolf. Okay, LibreWolf have been installed, and now let's install Ubuntu restricted extras. Click OK, click on yes. Done. Now, the guest additions for VMware Player are called VMware tools, right? So if we click on Install Tools here, oh, it's no longer shipped with VMware Player for Legacy Guest Operating System. Please download it from here. Oh, that is not good. Okay, so we're gonna skip this for now. Okay, we're gonna skip this part. We don't need this part. Actually, it would be a good idea to install this package here. We might need it for other things. Good, it's already installed. Perfect. Let's move on. Let's move on. So now we're gonna set up Git and GitHub in our virtual machine. Good. So let's sign into GitHub in our VM. So I'm gonna pause the video, sign into GitHub, and then get back to you. Okay, I have signed into GitHub. I'm gonna leave that as is, and I'm gonna continue back with the instructions. So now let's configure our username and our email. Now what I'm gonna do is I wanna open a text editor here just to make my life a little easier and to prevent any typos. Let me click on preference here, and I want to disable spelling. Check spelling, I don't want that. I'm gonna copy this command, paste it here, copy this command, paste it here, copy this command, and paste it here. Okay, now let's replace the information that we need. If you go to your GitHub profile, right, and you click on repositories, click on your repository, this over here has everything you need. Here is your username and here is your repository name. So you can copy this and paste it over here. And all we're going to do is replace the information that we need. Again, I'm doing it this way simply to avoid typos. They are annoying. So I'm going to copy my username and I'm going to put it here where it says username. And where it says email address, I'm going to type my email address. And here, what it says for my SSH key, your Gmail address, again, my email address, the one that you use to sign in to GitHub, same thing, you just put it over here. Let me make this a little bigger for you. There you go. And now we have another command here, which is for cloning our GitHub repository. So I'm gonna copy this command as well. I'm gonna paste it here. And notice that there is a part here where they are asking us for our GitHub repository and our username. So I'm gonna delete that, and all I have to do is copy that and paste it over here. Right? I'm gonna save these commands as a text file because it's good to have this just in case you ever need to redo your virtual machine, right? So again, I'm gonna do Control S to save, or I can click on the menu item and then save. I'm gonna put it in desktop, in documents, and I'm gonna call this git config commands, and this is just a text file. Perfect. Now all I have to do is copy and paste. copy, sorry, and paste, copy, paste. Here, press enter. If you want to provide extra security by giving this key a passphrase, you can. I'm not, because this is just a testing environment, right? And I'm going to delete this SSH key after the video is over anyway, so I don't have to. But if you want to, you're welcome to do so. Press enter here, and you're almost done. Now, you need to get your SSH key and copy it to the clipboard. Go to your GitHub account, go to settings by clicking on the icon at the top, then click on settings, SSH and GPG keys, new SSH key, and here you can type the name of your key. I'm gonna call this Ubuntu VMware machine. You can call it whatever you want. The important part is no trailing spaces. Notice that if I select this, right, there is no trailing spaces here whatsoever. So make sure no trailing spaces are there, because if spaces are characters, and that is going to cause a problem. So add SSH key. Perfect. Now we're going to test our SSH connection, and this is the message you should receive. Here you're going to type yes, the whole word, yes. Press enter, and if you get this message here, congratulations, you added your SSH key successfully. If you did not, repeat the process from the beginning slowly. Now that we did that, we can clone our repository. So let's open our text editor one more time and copy the last command. Paste it on your terminal, press enter, and that's it. You have an exact copy of your GitHub repository in your virtual machine right here, right? So mine looks different than yours because, well, I already did this lab, right? Now, at this point, what you need to do is go back to the original video and go to the section of setting up Git. In the end there, I did the process of organizing the GitHub repository, right? So just go to that video, go back to the step where I'm doing this, and you can see how to organize your repository, right? To save time, I'm not gonna do it over here because that would require me making a mess of the repository and then cleaning it up again. So I'm not gonna do that. Go to the other video and watch how it's done in the other video. The steps are just the same. So I'm gonna kill this, I'm gonna kill this. What else here? The steps for VS Code extensions are the same in the other video, so just go to the other video and watch that. This step is the same in the other video. Yeah, everything else is the same. So again, switch to the other video and then continue from that point on because everything else is the same. Now, we don't have the option of making snapshots in this virtual machine. So if I go here and I try to take a snapshot, let me see if there is a section for that. I don't think VMware Player has the option for that. I believe that is a feature of Workstation Pro only. And yeah, I was right. At least I don't see an option there. If anybody else knows, well, let me know in the comment section. Again, I apologize. I haven't used this software in a long time. The last time I used Workstation Player, they were in version 12. So my knowledge of this application itself might be a little bit outdated. Yeah, and that's it. You know, if this works for you, great. Again, this lab is for people who VirtualBox 7.1 is just not working for them. They're getting a lot of problems. Here is an alternative that you can use. This I'm just gonna ignore. Remind me, never remind me. The guest tools are already installed here, so that's perfectly fine. I'm gonna turn this off now. Again, remember, whatever instructions I missed in this video, just go back to the original video and watch it there. Everything is the same. The only difference is the hypervisor, and that's it. I'll turn this off. If you have any questions, remember you can reach out to me in Slack, and I'm always open to help you out. Take care.